Good morning and welcome to Brunel University London's webinar about our Master's Programmes in Sport, Health and Exercise Sciences. During the next hour, you'll have the opportunity to view a presentation by Dr. Misha Jervis, who will be talking about the course. I now have pleasure in introducing Dr. Misha Jervis.
Good morning, everybody. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the two programs that we're currently running within sports sciences, to give you a flavour of the differences in terms of the programs and also what you might expect if you come on the programs. You will see that essentially we run the MSc Sport and Exercise Psychology, which is the BPS accredited program, and then we offer the Sport, Health and Exercise Sciences, which is a broader, more generic program. So the aim of both of our courses is really to prepare students for practitioner training, should that be what you want to do, whether that's as a sports psychologist, as an exercise physiologist, or a biomechanist possibly. Prepare students for higher research degrees. Again, it's a solid grounding if you want to go on and do PhD work later on. And the cool bit about this, and I guess this is what differentiates master's programs from undergraduates, is the emphasis is much more on critical analysis and independent thinking. And really it's about you developing your knowledge and your ability to challenge evidence, to understand evidence, and to create an idea, an in-depth understanding of the topics and the subject areas that you choose to study. So let's look first at the specifics in terms of sports psychology. So the MSc Sport and Exercise Psychology, this is the course that is the BPS accredited course. But there's also the MSc in Sport, Health and Exercise Sciences, whereby you can take options within it that are psychological in nature. This will make a little bit more sense on the next slide. This also will prepare you for the British Association of Sports Sciences accreditation. So the accreditations are slightly different. So the BASIS one, the title you will end up with is Sports Sciences, Scientists, sorry, my mistake, bracket Sports Psychology. So let's have a look at them in a bit more detail. From the BPS perspective, what we have to make sure that we offer is the range of facilities. We have to make sure that we have the knowledge base, the research expertise, and also applied experience within the team. We offer a range of pedagogies, so that's a posh word for learning strategies and teaching methods. And within the different modules, you'll see that there's a great variety of how different lecturers approach their subject matter. And again, what the BPS said about our program was that the staff who work on it are approachable and very, very supportive of the students who enroll on it. So when we got re-accredited in 2013, these were the things that were highlighted as being excellent within our program. These are some key people who contribute to the program. Have a quick Google if you want. So myself, Misha Jervis, Dan Bishop, Costas Karageorgis, Danny Rand, and Noel Kinraid, we all offer different bits of teaching throughout the course with different expertise. In terms of where we were ranked from a research perspective, we were ranked 3rd in the UK, which is an excellent place to be, given that there are 51 UK institutions that work within sports sciences. So you can see that the quality of the work is excellent. So the people that you'll be working with are developing the new knowledge. So this helps in terms of you really getting a cutting edge course, because we create new knowledge all the time through the research that we actually conduct. So in terms of the kind of nitty-gritty of what would you actually be doing. So the modules that are here in red, these are the core courses that you have to do in terms of the Sport and Exercise Psychology, the BPS accredited. So you'll see research and application of psychology in sports performance, psychological skills for practitioners, social processes in exercise and sport, and individual differences in sport and exercise. So there's no bargaining on any of those, you have to do these. The two choices that you have are between 5503, which is a professional development course, which is very much geared around your own personal needs, and it works in a very different way from other courses. There's no set syllabus as such. You work to create your own learning journey, and different students have done a whole range of different things within it. And the other one is performance lifestyle, where we look at a different range of things. I guess we kind of lift the lid, if you like, on some issues within elite sport. So we'll look at things like depression, we'll look at addiction, we'll look at issues around well-being, and having an understanding that actually the life of an elite performer can be quite a rocky road. So we look at some of these other issues that impact on how they're actually able to manage being an elite athlete. So obviously the BPS is the guardian of stage 2 practitioner training, and the MSc serves as being stage 1. So in order for you to get a BPS accreditation and be HCPC accredited, i.e. you're legally allowed to use the words "I am a sport and exercise psychologist," you have to do stage 2 practitioner training. So there are people who do this supervision, so there might be opportunities for you to do it, but it's basically arranged on an individual basis. So there's no guaranteeing that everybody who asks to be supervised on stage 2 will be able to. But certainly we prepare you for that, and there have been many students who have gone through stage 1 here and have been successful in stage 2. So let's look at the next program, the MSc Sport, Health and Exercise Sciences. So this is actually a generic program whereby you can specialize in exercise physiology and biomechanics, and also psychology as well. So really this affords you the most flexibility, because you put together your combination of modules that you want to do, that you feel is right for you. So again, these are some of the lecturers who teach on this program. Have a little look at what they're doing in terms of their research. So quite a few physiologists there, and biomechanists, a slightly different approach. So this is the list. So you have to do your compulsory module, along with research methods, by the way, is physical activity and health. So you've got to do this, but then you have to choose the credits from this list of options. So you can see that there's physiology modules in there, there's biomechanics modules in there, laboratory techniques, which will give you the practical skills that you need if you want to become an exercise physiologist or a biomechanist, along with all of those psychology courses that were on the MSc Sport and Exercise Psychology program. So you can see that you've got quite a lot of options here in terms of how you pull your talk program together. So this allows you to have a little think about what you want to do to put the program together in a way that meets your individual needs. In terms of the P-test, so this is basically what postgraduate students said about our courses. So 97% of students ranked it as having a high satisfaction, and 99% said that it was excellent in teaching, and 97% for career and professional development. And I think that this is an important statistic. 100% of all our students would recommend our courses to others. So I think that the quality of the programs is extremely high, and we've been running these programs for a number of years, particularly the BPS ones. We were one of the first people to get accredited as a BPS provider. So we have longevity here, and therefore this, I think, contributes to how students view our programs. The other thing that we offer is, excuse me, a lot of the lecturers are working within the world of elite sport. So these are just a few bits and pieces in terms of some of the links that members of staff have to different organisations. So we also try to bring some people from these organisations or from different places into the classroom, so to try and make it an applied experience where the module allows us to do it, which can help you later on in terms of your dissertations, where you might need links in to collect data in different organisations. So we are connected, if you like, to the real world as well as the research world. So this is Sapna, who I taught a few years ago, who is now a chartered BPS accredited sports psychologist. And you can just see some of the things. In fact, she was one of the first people to become a BPS accredited sports psychologist. So credit to her. She was one of my supervisees. I supervised her through the program. So she's saying, this course has been immensely beneficial in providing the necessary foundation and in shaping my development as a trainee sport and exercise psychologist. So this was her quote when she was a trainee. She's now qualified. Through the lecturers' consultancy links, I've been able to secure placements working with British Football Club Academies, the British Junior Real Tennis Academy and the English Table Tennis Association. I would highly recommend this course and Brunel as a place of study. So she's certainly a success story. So that's all I'm going to say in terms of the kind of overview, the big picture. It's now really over to you, really, to ask your questions.
Thank you for such an interesting presentation, Dr. Jervis. Everybody is now welcome to put their questions to Dr. Jervis and also Amber, our student.
And the reason you may wonder why Usain Bolt is sitting there is that he trains a lot at Brunel. So he used to be a regular visitor. Alas, no more, but we enjoyed him when he used to come and visit.
Yes, we have a question from Letitia asking, when do we choose our modules?
Okay, so in induction week, when you come for induction, you will have the opportunity to see a small presentation about each of the modules, and then you will choose during that week.
And Anas would like to know how many credits or modules are required to complete the generic MSc program.
So it's the same as any other program. You have to do 180 credits, 60 of which are going to be your dissertation, and 120 are from the taught modules.
Daichi would like to know when we might have chances of engaging in internship.
There are no specific internships as part of the program. There are possibilities within your professional development if you wanted to work in a particular area for you to do that within that module. But we don't offer specific internships as such.
Louise would like to know, how many days a week would I need to be on campus?
Okay, so we run the program on 2 days a week, on a Tuesday and a Thursday. And it obviously is going to depend on what module combinations you are choosing as to what those 2 days actually look like, and also whether you're part-time or whether you're full-time.
Marita would like us to show the slide with the names of the lecturers again, so she can have a look. I'll flick back to that again. We will also send this presentation out to you within the next couple of weeks. But I'll go back onto that slide so that you can see that for the sport and exercise psychology.
Yeah,
this is the one. This is the one, Marita. So you can take the names of the lecturers from there. So Daichi will be doing sport and exercise psychology and would like to know something about reading in advance of the course.
Okay, off the top of my head, there's a book by Hill called Psychological Frameworks Within Sports Psychology. It's quite a good place to start. A lot of what we use within the modules is not actually books as such. We tend to use journals and journal articles. So one of the things that you could do is you can start familiarising yourself with some key journals. So The Sports Psychologist is a good journal to have a look at, or the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology is also a good journal to look at. The Journal of Sport and Exercise Psychology is another place that's worth looking at. Because what we tend to do is we try to use the latest research, we try to use key papers rather than recommending texts and books. We tend not to teach from textbooks.
And we have a similar question from Letitia regarding the Sport, Health and Exercise Science course.
So it'll be similar sort of thing again, where it's quite journal based, but the Sport and Exercise Physiology journal is a very good one to read. The Sport Exercise Medicine journal as well, or something along those lines, is a very good one as well.
Moving on to a different kind of question, when is the application deadline for 2019-20 programme? That's a long way off. The deadline is normally in the August before the September when you start, so you will have plenty of time. Does anyone have any student type of questions for Amber, because you could find out more about what it's like to be a student on this course at Brunel? Oh, we have a question from Sam. This may be one for Amber. What's the proportion of exams to coursework?
So that will depend on your module choices again. Different modules have either coursework or exam 50-50%, or it will depend on what module you take, but more of the sort of physiological side is sort of exam and presentation based with coursework as well. And a lot of the psychological stuff is mainly coursework based. They will depend on what module you take. And the exams sort of are about 2 hours, and they're all sort of in May time, so you'll have all year to prepare for them, so they're not sort of early on.
Anas would like to know, how does the course load differ from third year BSc Sports Science programme?
I think I'll give you my answer, and then Emma can give her answer, because my answer and hers might differ slightly. I think there are some good things about it, which is that you will actually be in much smaller classes. If you come from a BSc program where there's 200 students on you, you can get a bit lost, but the class size will be much smaller. And however, the expectations of you are also higher. So if we say to you, please prepare this for next week, we expect you to have prepared it for next week. Whilst you're only here 2 days a week, I'm sure Amber will attest to the fact that that does not mean to say you only work on your MSc 2 days a week. If you take that approach, that's not going to work out too well for you. We expect the quality of writing to be better. We expect you to read more widely. So, if you're doing 2,000 word essay, we probably will have expected you to read at least 30 sources to support that essay. So it's kind of at a deeper level. We also expect you to have a better understanding of the topics, and also to be more critical and your own spin on things, in a sense. Understand what that's like, but Amber, you say from your perspective.
Yeah, so from a student perspective, it's a lot more personal in lectures, so you do have a smaller class, so you can ask questions a lot more. It's a lot more sort of applied as well. You get access to external people who are like sort of specialists in their fields. They come in and do talks for us, so you can ask them questions as well, which also helps doing coursework and for future. In terms of workload, so there's a 2 days a week lectures, but you are expected to do a lot more independent work, so it would be down to yourselves to do the reading. We are asked about that in the lecture the next week, so if we're asked to do a piece of reading, we are then expected to understand that, and that will be used to apply to the lecture the following week. So it is really important to, if with time management as well, but also to be quite studious in your own time, otherwise you will sort of struggle to keep up in lectures. But the lecturers are very helpful. They all have out of office hours as well that you can attend. So it's not too much in work terms, as in difficulty, but you are expected to be a lot more analytical and critical when you're writing as well. So everything you sort of write, you are expected to have done reading prior to when you're writing an essay. It will be expected that you can critically evaluate sort of all the work you've done with references. So yeah, it's important to do the reading and sort of keep on top of all that. But the lecturers are very good, and although it's more in depth, they do sort of explain everything well.
Can you tell us something about the facilities at Brunel, Amber?
As in
Sports facilities?
So sports facilities or sort of laboratories or...
Yeah, I think it would be good to find out a bit more about the lab facilities.
Yeah, so we've got a big lab based in the sports science department. They've got all sorts of technology in there and equipment we can use. They've got sort of Douglas bags, a treadmill, we've got cycle ergometers for doing various tests like wing gaits. We've also got a hyperbaric sort of chamber type thing. It's not specifically a chamber, but we can sort of replicate that in the lab. And also we've got sort of, what's we got?
Biomechanics lab?
Yeah, we've got a biomechanics lab as well. I personally haven't done biomechanics, but I've been part of the study for it. So we have got that as well. We've got psychological. We've also got psychological labs as well. So yeah.
Also, obviously, the facilities that you are able to make use of are indoor track, 100-meter track, excellent athletics facilities. There's tennis, 3G football pitches. England netball train here. International athletes train here all the time. We've got the usual kind of things in terms of gyms. You can, as a student, you can have access to all the gym memberships. We have a track. So the facilities, the sports facilities are excellent, and of course you will be able to have access to them.
So Letitia would like to know, on the Sport, Health and Exercise Science course, are there practical sessions or just taught lectures?
Yeah, so the lab techniques module is the practical one. So most of the other modules are sort of taught, but with the people coming in to do talks. But the actual, if you wanted to do practical, you'd need to take the lab techniques. That means you can go into the lab, you learn how to use the equipment, and they basically, when you're undergrad, if you get access to lab, usually you're supervised. What they try to do with that module is teach you, but then teach you to the level where you're able to use the equipment yourself, unsupervised. So you'll get to use all the biomechanics labs and all the physiology labs, and you'll be competent by the end to then use that towards your dissertation. And usually when you do your dissertation testing, you're sort of supervised in a way, but unsupervised most of the time.
If anybody would still like to apply for September, there is still time. The deadline is 25th of August, but that could possibly even be stretched a bit longer. You'll find lots of information, all the information you need about the course on the Brunel website, on the specific pages for these two courses. Well, that's nice. Letitia said it was really helpful, and thank you for the presentation. That's very nice, Letitia. We do hope to see you at Brunel in the near future. One more question. Could we repeat the journal names for sports and exercise psychology?
Sure. So, The Sports Psychologist, the Journal of Applied Sports Psychology, the Journal of Sport and Exercise Psychology. Those three journals would be a good place to start. Have a little read, see what's current, look at what some of the key issues might be. And the other thing is, we also, in terms of the applied sports psychology, we recognise that things happen all the time in the media. So there's an article that I did for The Guardian, which if you Google my name and injury, you will see it's all about the psychology of long-term injury. So we look at researching those things. So again, we look at the psychology of injury. So that might be an easy place to start to kind of see some of the work that I'm involved in. which is out there.
We have a question from Sanika. He or she has a conditional offer for MSc Sports Psychology. When is the deadline?
So if you're holding a conditional offer, it probably was because you're waiting for your degree results to come through. So you must now know what your degree is. So the deadline for being able to accept that offer will be the 25th of August.
Letitia would like us to go back to the Sport Health Lecturers Research Team. We'll go back to that, and then we have another question after that. So Sport Health Lecturers Research Team.
It's forward. It's forward. There.
There's the slide for you, Letitia. We have a question from Antonia. How often are opportunities created by staff for students with real-life work experience, for example, sports scientist opportunities in professional sports clubs? Are staff quite open with helping students with this?
Well, I guess there are opportunities. Different staff will have different kind of remits. So there might be possibilities to help support staff in terms of research projects. There might be possibilities to possibly shadow staff in other contexts. You can't kind of put a kind of finite number onto that, because it depends what staff are into at the time that you are a student as to what opportunities might present themselves. What I would say though is that certainly from my perspective, some of the research projects that are going, so I've got 3 students who are researching into long-term injury, the psychology of long-term injury. And so I certainly help them in terms of actually getting the data and doing that. And last year we did a big piece of research with the PFA, with the Professional Football Association, to try and have an understanding about what happens within football. So sometimes those things kind of align, and obviously that work has to be done within the context, in this case, of football clubs. So students had to go into clubs to collect the data to actually do that piece of work. So I certainly helped make that happen.
Question from Fiona. How are applications regarded from students with non-science, medical or sports undergraduate degrees with an athletic career and sports coaching industry experience?
So they're looked at on an individual basis. It's not that we'd reject you out of hand. Obviously you need to have a degree. It's always different when you've been an athlete. You have experience of being an athlete, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you have an understanding of the sports science that sits behind some of those things. So if you're uncertain, I'd say apply, and you might be asked to come in for an interview, but excuse me, we certainly wouldn't reject it out of hand. So my advice to you is, if you haven't applied, apply and see what happens.
Sanika would like to know the deadline for accommodation. It's best to check it on the Brunel website, but I believe that if you meet all of your course conditions and apply for your room by the end of August, then you will get the accommodation. And we do have very nice postgraduate accommodation here on campus.
Yeah, so as a postgraduate you get guaranteed accommodation. I personally am in accommodation at the moment, and the ensuite accommodation over in Isambard, I highly recommend that to stay in. It's very quiet because the blocks are all postgraduates and PhD students, and you live with 10 flats and you get a kitchen to share, but there's more than enough equipment in there. You get cleaners in Monday to Friday, so it's always clean, And in the room you get obviously a bed, you get your desk, you get internet access, a shower, toilet and sink, and plenty of shelves for book space.
Thank you, Amber. I think we're coming to the end of our questions now, but if anyone wants to quickly put anything else in, please do. Well, if anybody does have any questions after this, please get in touch with admissions@brunel.ac.uk or have a look at our website where you will find information about most of the things you'll be looking for. I'd like to thank you for attending our webinar today. I hope you found it interesting and informative, and we really hope that we'll be seeing you at Brunel soon. That's the end of the webinar, but a recorded version will be available on our website shortly. So goodbye and thank you very much for attending.